Tonight on 4029 News, an investigation after shots fired at an apartment complex in Fayetteville. What neighbors say they heard and smelled. Plus, Governor Asa Hutchinson addressing the vaccine rollout in Arkansas, why he says it's a slower process here compared to some other states. And Black History Month kicks off tomorrow, why some say it's important to pay tribute to the progress that's been made.
Live, local, late breaking. This is 4029 News at 10.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on this Sunday night. I'm Jamie Weiss. It was a very cold day to start, so we want to get straight to 4029 meteorologist Robert. Sir, Robert, a very cold, dreary day, but please tell me it's going to get a little bit better tomorrow.
Yes, I'm sorry to everybody for delivering that cold and dreary weather today, but...
Well, new tonight, Fayetteville police are investigating shots fired in the city. It all happened around midnight last night at Cliff's Townhomes. We shot this video earlier today of the scene. Police say no one was hurt. But take a look at this. A resident took these photos inside of an apartment complex on Lapis Lane. You can see bullet holes in the window as well as a wall. A neighbor who lives below this apartment says they'd just gone to bed when they heard a loud pop.
I, at that time, jumped up. I looked to my left and I could see past the window. There was 3 shots fired after that, but you could see the flash off of them. I immediately run to my patio door to look out and you could smell gunpowder. The person up above me wasn't home at the time. He got home maybe 5 minutes after I called him. He got home and I'm assuming he had no idea either.
Gosh, such a scary situation there. Well, Clausen says she hopes the authorities can find the shooter soon. She says she's lived in that area for 3 years and nothing like this has ever happened before. Turning now to our coverage of the coronavirus, 30 new deaths were reported in Arkansas today. And you can see that's a big jump from yesterday, but that's pretty much in line with the rest of the past several days. Hospitalizations are up slightly to 913 today, and there's been a steady downtick in hospitalizations over the past several days in total. Meanwhile, active cases continue to trend downward. There's now slightly over 17,000 active cases statewide. Taking a look at the overall numbers, 4,868 people have now died from the virus statewide. 881 new cases were reported today. An update on how the vaccine rollout is going here in Arkansas. According to the health department, about 59% of the doses in the natural state have been administered. 520,000 doses have been received in the state, and of those, more than 307,000 have been administered. Governor Asa Hutchinson addressed the statewide effort to get people vaccinated on This Week Today. He says the rollout is more challenging in Arkansas because health officials have to balance their efforts between mostly rural communities with a few large population centers.
Not as efficient, but it is fair because it gets it into the minority populations, the rural areas of our state. It's more fair, and that's what we're trying to accomplish.
Collier Drug Store is one of the main distributors of the vaccine in Northwest Arkansas, sharing to social media that they, quote, are not receiving any of the vaccine we requested from the Arkansas Department of Health for next week. We will not be able to make any new appointments until this changes. But Collier Drug Stores did add that they do have enough of the vaccine in stock for those that already have appointments scheduled, and they have enough for those coming in for their second dose this week. In Oklahoma, more than 2,800 new cases and 43 new deaths were reported today. 3,547 people have died from the virus statewide. This is more than 29,000 cases remain active tonight. Remember, you can find more information about the coronavirus on our free 4029 News app. You can find it in both the Google Play and Apple app stores. Black History Month starts tomorrow, and dozens of events will be held in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley to help celebrate. I want to bring in 4029's Emma Claybrook. She's joining us live now with a look at some of those events. 3 candidates have emerged so far in the upcoming Arkansas gubernatorial race. Former White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Attorney General Leslie Rutledge, and Lieutenant Governor Tim Griffin have all announced their candidacy. We spoke to a political science professor at the U of A who says executive leadership posts have been particularly challenging for women to break into.
We are still among many states to never have had a female chief executive. And the only way you get those is if some of them run. So it looks like we've got that going this year.
Well, we do have some local special elections coming up that we want to let you know about. In Gentry, people will be weighing in on a measure that would authorize the sale of alcohol for off-premises consumption on Sundays. In Farmington, people will be voting on a new millage that would help fund the school district. And in Prairie Grove, voters will decide whether to approve a sales tax to be used to pay for city projects. Early voting starts on Tuesday, and Election Day is February 9th. An expansion to the Benton County Courthouse kicks off tomorrow. Benton County Judge Barry Mooring says the expansion will help our community as more people move to Northwest Arkansas and caseloads grow. The expansion is set to help house District 7 Circuit Court Judge Christine Horwart and her staff.
It will have the courtroom, the chambers, jury room. We'll also, as a part of that, have about 2,500 additional feet in lobby space. So we'll have more space for the public to come in out of the elements. We'll have an additional security station, elevators, and restrooms. So basically, we're adding a mini courthouse, if you will, onto the existing courthouse to accommodate Division 7.
Well, the project is expected to cost $3.1 million, but Judge Mooring says this will not require a tax increase. Instead, the county is turning toward short-term debt to make this project possible. In Little Rock today, a group of bipartisan state leaders spoke out against a proposed Stand Your Ground bill. The bill would, in most cases, end the duty to retreat when someone is using physical or deadly force against you. But the Republican lawmakers that sponsored this bill argued the current law contains ambiguous language. This new bill would help. But the group also spoke out against House Bills 1218 and 1231 today. Those would block state funds from going to schools which teach certain courses that deal with race, gender, and other social groups. Last weekend, the University of Arkansas lost one of their own. 20-year-old Michael Marin was found in his fraternity bathroom last Saturday. So tonight, the University of Arkansas Counseling and Psychological Services wants students to know it's okay to not be okay.
Whenever there are situations where people feel more isolated or disconnected, we know that our mental health suffers. So that does concern me during the pandemic, that people are just going to feel more isolated and more disconnected.
Dr. Klein says mental health has been a top priority for the University of Arkansas, especially in a year plagued by a pandemic.
I think we need the entire community engaged in reaching out to our students, asking them if they're doing okay, and having them follow up with services if they need to talk to somebody. So I think we need to do this as a very large public health initiative.
Dr. Klein saying the calls to the Counseling and Psychological Services Center increasing dramatically in the last week after a student died in his fraternity.
For someone who has experienced their first loss, this is going to be a tough time. And for someone who's experienced a loss in the past, this may bring up the feelings of that loss from the past. So we talked to them about some of the signs and symptoms of grief.
And those symptoms can look different to everyone. Dr. Klein hopes by talking about mental health regularly, the stigma associated with therapy and counseling can continue to disappear.
And I think that our students today who are engaging at very high rates and asking for mental health services, I think they're doing exactly what we've asked them to do: take care of and be aware of their mental health. So I don't see it as a crisis as much as I see it as them very much engaging in services that we've told them that they should engage in. And the stigma is much reduced in our current college students.
The cause of death for Marin has not yet been announced. We do want to let you know that CAPS only provides services to university students and staff. However, you can reach them at any time by calling 479-575-5276. You can also get connected to someone by emailing uovacares@uark.edu. Anyone in the community that is struggling with mental health can always call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. You can dial them at 1-800-273-TALK. We want to show you this. It's a beautiful photo of a sunrise in Hinesville. Absolutely stunning. This picture was sent to us by viewer Tezra Eubanks. Thank you so much, Tezra, for sending in this gorgeous photo. And don't forget, you can send us your pictures too. Just be sure to join the ULocal Arkansas Facebook page and post away. You could even be featured right here on TV. Super Bowl Sunday coming up next week. We'll tell you how you can watch the big game while still staying safe from the spread of COVID-19 after the break. Plus, a severe winter storm slamming the Midwest and is now headed towards the Northeast. How many people are now under a winter weather alert? We'll let you know after the break.